Hey everybody, welcome back for another mod overview. I hope you're enjoying the Red Alert anniversary celebration so far. Today we're going to have a look at C&C Reloaded. So this is a modification for Yuri's Revenge that focuses on bringing together the Tiberian Sun factions into Red Alert 2. So it's a pretty interesting idea. So you can see here 5 factions: Allies, Soviets, the Yuris, then you have Nod and GDI. And they've kind of broken it out here. Allies have powerful high-tech weapons and units. The Soviet Union has brute force and enormous masses of troops at their disposal. Yuri can use their psychic weapons to perturbate enemy troops. GDI have high-tech units and strong weapons, and the Brotherhood of Nod use experimental deadly weapons based on Tiberian technology. You must choose only one faction. Only one can dominate the rest. Good luck, Commander. So it's a pretty interesting mod. What I would say is they do add an element of forking tech trees, which I quite like. So traditionally speaking, the likes of Tiberian Sun, you would tech up to your tech center and then you would only have one path. In this mod they do it a little bit differently, and it's the same with the Allied, Soviet and the Yuri factions. We'll see this all in game shortly, but you essentially get to a point where you can choose to either go down one tech 3 or go down another, or if you wish you can go down one, revert your decisions and then go back. So it's definitely different in terms of how they're enabling access to specific units and structures, and also as a side effect of that, it's going to impact the meta for multiplayer play. Most recently they've come up and released version 2.3.0. So with this, just to point out some of the most recent changes, the Phobos is upgraded to the latest version, so they are using a bunch of cool Phobos features, including keeping track of the harvesters, using custom icons, using descriptions. They've updated the C&C draw library, they've updated the map tool, they added the FA2 map editor, and added a side selection option, so there's random no Yuri. They added new translations, so it's from Russian, traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese and Spanish. It's pretty cool. A new production clock animation in the sidebar looks very nice to see it here, like the 22%, 26% with the clock dial rotating. Very nice. They also have new sidebar icons for GDI and Nod structures, so pretty cool. A lot of customization work done here. They added the new tech tree for Brotherhood of Nod, so you'll start to see these kind of C&C 3 style units from the Nod faction, which is kind of an interesting addition to the game. Definitely feels different, and to kind of compensate for that, the GDI side can go down a more kind of tank heavy route, similar enough to C&C 3. It's now possible with the most latest changes for them to mix resources. So I think beforehand it was either you go with ore or you go with Tib. Now you can mix and match. There's also a setting in game for custom matches where you can turn off Tiberium and turn it into ore, and then any units that usually heal on Tib or whatever instead will auto heal and things like that. So they got some interesting implementations here to try and balance that out, which is cool. They added an attack delay for Magnetron. GDI Firestorm Defense will be available with the super weapon option enabled. They added 26 new multiplayer maps, improved the multiplayer AI. So they've done quite a huge amount of work with the most recent patch, so fair play to them. To get up and running with this, it's actually not that difficult, similar to any other RA2 Yuri's Revenge mod. Make sure you have a copy of Yuri's Revenge installed locally. Go in here. I use the zip version, so I download this and I basically drag the files into your install location. They do seem to have an installer version too, so you can check that out if you're having difficulties with the zip version. Also worth pointing out that the C&C Reloaded folks have a bunch of their own social media that you can check and follow on. So they have their own Discord channel, they have their own ModDB page, which we're checking on here, the Revora official forums, they have a Telegram channel, and they have a YouTube channel. So if you want to go check out some more C&C Reloaded content, by all means you can go check it out over here. And there's plenty of missions and battles here and demonstrations of what the different tech does. Some of it's a little bit old. The oldest video on here, all the way from an AI test video dated 10 years back. Kind of crazy that it's been going for so long, but really cool to see that all that content is up there to watch. But I think what we're going to do now is pop on over to the game client and check it out for ourselves. So let's go. And here we are in the game client itself for C&C Reloaded. You can see there's a couple of options here. The ModDB and Discord links are actually hard-coded into the game client, so that's kind of a nice handy way of doing it. They do have some campaign missions in here, so as far as I'm aware, these are more or less the basic campaign missions. You can see all the ones here for the Allies, Soviets, Allies and Soviets for Yuri's Revenge, but they do also have beta campaign missions in for Tiberian Sun, which is interesting. We'll probably look and try and pop into one or two of the Tiberian Sun missions in a little bit, because that's kind of the highlight of this mod, I guess, bringing in the Tiberian Sun factions to the RA2 engine and seeing how they play and handle. But before we go down that road, what's more important for us is to have a look at each of these factions and see how they currently stand within the mod itself. So we're going to go through a bunch of skirmishes for each one of these factions. There's 5 factions. We'll do 5 quick skirmishes, and then we'll pop back and see what the campaign is like. So with that in mind, let's all head on over to the skirmishes. And as you can see here, in terms of the skirmish options available, you have a huge number of maps. Like, there's a massive amount of them, so you'll never be stuck. You can use the pick random map button as well if you want to find a random one. Various game modes: standard, free for all, nuke war, unholy alliance, meat grinder, massive crates, naval war, oil control. And there's even some co-op. So they have some co-op missions in here. These don't seem to be implemented just yet. So I guess bear that in mind. But we're just going to be trying out some standard matchups here. We have a whole bunch of side options. You can go Allies, Soviets, Yuri, GDI and Nod. You can also go random from Tiberian Sun, random from RA2, or random Yuri Revenge. So that's a pretty cool idea. RA2 just being Allies and Soviets, but Yuri's Revenge being Allies, Soviets and Yuri. So very cool to let you customize your unit selection, your faction selection like that. In terms of the actual in-game options, you've got short game, MCV repacks, naval combat, crates appear, immune bridges, immune oil derricks, AI paranoid. So it's pretty interesting. If said AI players ally with each other if the situation looks bleak. No Tiberium chain reaction. If set, blue Tiberium will not produce an explosive chain reaction when it's destroyed. So they have made it so that if you accidentally fire into the blue tib, it's going to detonate, which is interesting. Orange gem setting here, as mentioned before, will let you replace the tib with orange gems, but the Tiberium effects being disabled, it'll mean that some units that usually heal in Tiberium will now auto heal. It's an interesting way of trying to navigate around that balance issue, so very cool that they thought of that. Iron Storm, you can have that set up. Bounty, you can get cash for destroying units, build off ally bases, super weapons, ally change in game, so you can form and break alliances during the match. Always leads to fun in multiplayer. Start locations won't be shown. You can disable alternative tech trees. So as mentioned earlier, one of the key features of this mod is that once you hit to the tech center position in the tech tree, it kind of forks out, so you can go one direction or the other. And then you'll have to kind of bypass and go back if you want to change. So we'll try and have a look at the splitting tech for each one of these factions. Immune civilian techs we also have here. They'll all become indestructible. Oil derricks won't be affected. AI cheater can be turned on. AI will receive money every few seconds and clone units for mass production. Unlimited Tiberium fields will be depleted. No Visceroids. If set dead, infantry dead by Tiberium will not transform. Also have meteors here, so if set, meteors will fall randomly in the map. So a whole bunch of cool settings. You can start with your default unit count. Seems to start with 10 here by default. We'll reduce this down to 10 or to 5 for our testing purposes. Starting credits, it defaults to 20. We're going to crank this up to 100,000 initially, just so we can try out taking up as quick as possible. It'll be a bit easier to do that. Game speed, we're going to play it on 5. Tech level, we'll max it out. And with that in mind, I think we'll start picking our factions and go towards playing some games. So first up, I guess we're going to try out the Allies versus the Soviets, kind of the traditional battle. We're going to go up against easy AI just so we have proper opportunity to go through all the tech of the faction without being too overwhelmed. We'll see how the AI behaves. But let's get into it. Looks like responding is the pink Allies. Alright, let's go. You can see here the custom radial dial icons for the structures. It's a pretty cool feature. Also with Phobos shows you the cost as well as the power drain required. And on the top right you can see the number of active harvesters beside the cache is 0 out of 0. Once we get a harv on the field, you'll see that change to 1 out of 1. And then if I stop the harvester from moving, it'll go even higher. Ooh, crates. Pick up the crates, boys. Or don't. I guess it's part of the environment on the map. Cool, get our refinery down. Very nice. Get our radar up. Now remember, because we have Tiberium, I think this will actually hurt infantry that goes on it. Yeah, you can see it doing the damage there, almost killing the dogs that walk on it. So that's something to definitely be mindful of if you're coming from just base or A2. We seem to have unlocked a napalm airstrike and a paradrop by getting access to this. So that's kind of cool. You can see the super abilities here in the defensive tab. In terms of defensive structures that are new, we have the gun turret here, so I guess we'll try that. I think we can actually build against the neutral structure here in the middle. So that's kind of cool. We'll probably get some turrets up in the center as a result of that. We'll definitely want some chrono miners, get some standard battle tanks, some IFVs. Gun turret, I guess we'll try put some up here. So you can see the model for that. It's interesting, kind of like a pillbox, but a bit more elevated. What do we got? So we got robot control, we get that first. And you can see here we start coming across the alternate tech paths. So we can either go with a battle lab, which is the more traditional, or a tech center. We'll likely go with the battle lab first. Go down the more traditional tech path before we tech up. We will need a bit more extra power though. Make sure that we can stay alive. They engineered them! Cheeky idiots! Very cheeky. Okay, I guess we'll try leave the doggos up there if they don't die. No, they're gonna die. There's a Visceroid spawning. So very unusual to see that in Red Alert, so it's cool. It's cool, little sample of the kind of level of work that they're doing. I think taking control of the middle here will be good for our eco later on. So then we'll have full control of all the blue Tib. Very cool looking Tib as well in the mod, it must be said. It's an unusual approach. I know that there's at least one other mod that's attempting to bring like Tib Sun into the RA2 engine. Iron Shock, I think it was I demonstrated it a little bit during the Tib Sun anniversary event. So that's definitely another one I would recommend checking out if you're into this kind of idea. Although that one's a little bit more in its beta phases. That seems to have locked access for Force Shield, so that's cool. In terms of vehicles here, we can see unlocked by the the more traditional battle lab. We got the Mirage tank, the Prism tank, and the Battle Fortress. I also have a radar jammer now too, so that's kind of cool. So we'll get a few of these just so we can take a look at them. The modeling and stuff is pretty much identical to the base game. I'm not really seeing any unique specific units to the RA2 factions, which is fair enough. I think the main focus of this mod is trying to bring the Tiberian Sun models into the engine, which we will see when we come up against some of them in a couple of matches here now. Whoa, pull back, guys, calm down. Airstrike's ready, so that's definitely a new feature. It looks like the old A10 animation. Warthog for the cameo icon. Also have access to the power drop, so that's cool. I think we want to get an engineer and see if we can capture this too. AI not liking the fact that I was hitting their harvester there. But not much that we're gonna let him do about it. You can see the Tanya cameo here too. It's pretty cool. But I don't think that's the basic one. It looks a bit different. Open to correction on that, of course. We can get our standard super weapon abilities here in the defensive tab, so we can get the Spy Satellite, Chronosphere, and Weather Control. So I think they may have moved a couple of these out of the standard buildings tab and put them into the defensive section, which is totally fair. Here's our gap generator, our mobile gap generator, radar jammer, and the battle fortress. Get our Tanya out, a couple of Chrono Legionnaires, and then we'll look at tech switching. So currently, as you can see, once we put down the battle lab, we can no longer build the alternate version of it. So we need to go back and sell it. There's Tanya coming on in. Chronosphere and weather control device are going to be functioning pretty much as standard. Tanya here will have her shown by the air station. So, Napalm Strike. Guess we'll go for here.
Select target. Warning, nuclear silo detected.
Nuclear silos over here. Napalm Strike doing good damage. So if I sell the battle lab now, you'll see it'll restrict my tech back, but I can now build the tech center, which will take us down the alternate path for units for this faction.
ready.
You can hear my Chrono Legionnaire in here freezing out their units. And you can see some of the exploding Tib here. An option you can turn off, as they mentioned, in the actual custom match settings, which is cool. So you have a nice level of customization with that.
Unit ready.
Where's their nuke? Their nuke's over here. It's going to be a bit dicey if I try to take this out, because it can only come in through the front here. Maybe I could go all the way around the side.
Unit lost.
So here's the instead of the battle lab, the tech center gone down.
Unit ready.
It's a very cool looking structure.
Reinforcements.
Gives me access to all these fake buildings that I can build. I can rebuild super weapons now. But if we look at our tanks, we now have access to different tanks.
Unit
We have
on hold.
the tank destroyer, we have howitzers, the artillery Mark II. We can build the Mirage tanks, but we don't have access to prison tanks. So there are some variants, as you can see.
Unit lost.
Whoops.
Strike ready. Unit ready.
Napalm strike.
Select target.
So you can see some of the tank destroyer models here. So it's an interesting way of forking the factions, forcing the player to kind of choose which direction they want to go. As you can see, you can go backwards, so you can like go one direction, get a load of prism tanks, then go back, get your tech center, and then go about
Building.
getting your, say, artillery or whatever unit it is that you are preferring to use. The artillery, of course, the howitzer here. I think this is a new unit and a new model that they've added specific for the faction, so it looks pretty cool.
Unit ready.
I definitely want to get a few of these in.
Outstanding.
Force shield ready. Unit lost. Warning. Iron curtain activated.
Oh, that's not good.
Our base is under attack. Construction complete. Training.
Get ourselves engineer, get these howitzers up.
New rally point established. Warning. Nuclear missile launched. Unit ready. Our base is under attack.
Nuke has gone off and done a lot of damage. So in terms of the balance, it's a little bit on the painful side.
Our base is under
It's always a tricky thing with these mods, seeing how
construction complete.
how fairly balanced the super weapons tend to be, because usually it's one of the last things that tends to get modified in these mods for competitive play. It didn't knock out the Conyard, which is good, just everything else, which is a little bit painful, but I think we can still come back from this.
Unit
These
lost.
guys able to outrange the Tesla there, it looked like, as well, which is kind of cool.
Construction complete. Unit lost.
Weather control device is ready.
Unit lost.
Get our ore back up,
Not deployed here.
get our war factory back up, repair these.
Repairing. New construction.
We want to get
Unit lost.
what, a whole bunch of GIs. We just need units at this point. We can build Black Eagles now too.
Unit
We can
lost.
get 2 of them.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Ore miner under attack. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ore miner under attack.
Get the war factory back down. Alright, I think we're going to get spam a few Mirage tanks and get these up here. I can see the Air Force Center here enables us to build these
Unit lost.
air units.
Unit ready. Reinforcements ready. Warning.
Few
Iron curtain
more
activated.
of
Our base is
these.
under attack. Unit ready. Unit promoted. Select target. Unit lost.
I want to be getting a couple more engineers.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Studying
ready.
blueprints.
Unit
I've got
lost.
the knowledge. Got the plans right here.
Unit ready.
I've got the knowledge.
Oops. Where is he gone?
I've got the knowledge.
This one. We'll get it up here.
Unit ready. Oil refinery.
So you can see, you can decide which way tech-wise you want to go.
Unit lost.
I don't think I got the purifier, so we'll get that up now.
Destination
Unit
commander.
ready.
Rudder set for new head natural sanctuary.
Unit lost. Warning. Nuclear missile launched. On hold. Building.
You can see here it's going to be pretty devastating.
Base is under attack.
Again, it takes out pretty much everything with it, so the nuke is a little bit on
Oil
the
refinery captured.
imbalance side, I think it's fair to say.
Unit
This thing
ready.
went down immediately.
Reinforcements
That's rough.
ready.
There's a tech repair shop over here. Guess we can try and get that.
Construction complete. Building. Low
Low power, we'll fix that in a minute.
Unit lost. Construction complete.
We'll put these here preemptively.
Training.
Then we're going to get a bunch of hot dogs, a bunch of Guardian GIs, a bunch of regular GIs.
Unit ready.
I guess we'll get some Patriot missiles just to show off the aesthetic effect of them.
Unit ready.
The opponent doesn't really seem to be using the air too much, so we're in alright situation.
Construction complete.
But there it is, just so you can see the unit and the structure.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
I want to get more Mirage techs. Can you knock out the power too? That'd be good.
All vehicles are now auto.
Vehicles now auto repairing.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit
Terror drones doing some serious damage. We need to get the robot control back up. With it being killed, you can see these are all disabled at the moment.
ready. Unit promoted. Unit ready.
So you can see the howitzers here being able to shoot at such a long range. It's pretty cool.
Unit ready. New construction options. Unit
However, the Tesla here is going to finish them off.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Chronominer reporting vehicle ready. It's in the bank.
Unit ready.
Hmm.
Unit ready.
We're missing our radar.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Attacking.
Oh, we're not going to get this in time. Napalm airstrike might help us finish it off. And looks like they're getting a cure off now.
Nuclear missile launch. Construction complete.
Nice. Although they already launched it, so rip.
Unit ready.
And they
Unit lost.
got our tech structure, so now we're going to switch back with the battle lab.
New
So it is cool, the ability to having switchable tech like that. But you definitely want to try, optimize for whatever the best solution is. Depending on your opponent's faction and how you want to go about trying to counter their units and structures.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Get these all over here.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Warning, Iron Curtain activated. Unit lost.
I need to get the robot control center back up pretty quick.
Unit ready.
We also want this.
Unit lost. Repairing.
Can't sell this, sadly.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Construction complete. Cannot deploy here. Airstrike ready.
Nice. Airstrike ready.
Select target. New construction options.
More Patriot missiles down here.
Transformer panel in order. Fast and light.
We want to get the robot control center up.
Ready. Unit lost. Construction complete. Building.
Some of these.
Squared away, sir. On my way.
Unit ready. Select target.
IFE ready. On the go. Speed to
Construction
pull.
complete.
We'll get a secondary RAF and a secondary war factory up too. We can also now get some prism tanks since we switched back our tech.
On hold. Cancel.
Ready as ever.
Not quite sure how to get these downed robot tanks back up. I thought it would be automatic once I get
Unit promoted.
the robot station back up. Maybe it's because I'm low power at the moment.
Unit lost.
In fact, I have 2 of these, so it is definitely because I'm low power at the moment.
Structure sold. Unit lost.
That's my bad.
On my way.
Viceroy just kind of chilling over here.
Unit ready.
It's very cool to see the Tib Sun features in a RI2 campaign mission, or like a skirmish mission like this.
Is under attack. Unit lost.
Yes, sir. On the move. Squared away, sir.
Reinforcements ready. Select target. Construction complete. Airstrike ready.
Airstrike ready.
Select target.
We can make adjustments. Made for speed.
Construction complete. Unit lost. Building.
Damn, this base is taking up hella power.
Unit ready. Repairing. Construction complete. Building.
Okay, robot tanks are back online. Hell yeah.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
There's a hospital on this side of the map too we can possibly take over.
Lightning storm ready.
Lightning Storm is ready, so let's see how devastating this is to our opponent.
Warning. Lightning storm created.
They're using their force field ability to defend against it, which is pretty smart on their end.
Ready.
But we want to come in and try take out the nuke here.
Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Cannot deploy here. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Positional data received. Can do! Black Eagle reporting. Optic panel.
Force
Calibrating
shield
air
ready.
focusing light energy. Charge.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. On hold. Unit lost.
Magnifiers activated. Prism sensor.
Unit ready.
Calculating reflection.
Reinforcements ready.
Light energy.
Unit ready. Unit promoted. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Alright, we're getting there.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Panels charged. Positional data received. Panels charged.
Unit ready.
New coordinates processed.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Building. Select target. Ore miner under attack.
Want some shade?
Unit ready.
Breathing ahead. Nobody here but us trees.
Unit ready.
Ready. Dig it in. On the move.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Dig it in.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Building.
Alright,
Destination commander. Bound
Unit
forward.
ready.
Dig it in.
and focusing down on the production facilities here.
Lost. Lightning storm ready.
But it's pretty much going to be GG. So interesting to see the variation between the two different factions. They have power
Unit
back.
ready.
Uh-oh.
Unit lost.
Fire zone
Construction complete.
One more for the land.
Very interesting to see the variation between the factions.
Unit ready.
Different alternative fires, so you have like the howitzer versus prism tank, the different functionalities of them.
Destination commander.
Being able to switch between them at different moments. If your opponent uses like a super weapon and knocks out like one of your battlefields, your battle labs, you can switch then at that point. So it's cool to have the variability. Trying to knock the Tesla power offline here.
Unit lost.
Looks like I'm not going to be able to though. Oh, no, there it goes.
Building.
Keep building tanks.
Airstrike ready.
Airstrike ready.
Select target. Unit ready. Warning. Lightning storm created. Unit ready.
Get some lightning storm action going. Always satisfying.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready.
And
Unit
this should be GG, pretty much. So yeah, that's a good look at the Allies faction, I think.
Unit ready.
As you can see, you get a couple of extra superpowers in this mod for them. You get the alternating tech. There's a couple of new models and units that they seem to be able to use too, which is cool.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit promoted. Unit ready.
But they are hanging in there till the very last structure, I give them that.
Unit reporting. Outstanding.
Here it is. We also have a bunker here too.
Unit promoted. Player defeated.
GG's.
You are victorious.
Alright, next up we're going to try out the Soviets. We'll try it out on this Dueling Islands map, see how it goes up against the Allies. Again, interesting to see these Tib Sun style maps in the RA2 engine.
Options.
Waiting order.
Building.
Moving. Waiting orders. Moving out.
Construction complete. Building.
Comrade. Moving
New
out.
construction
Comrade.
options.
Order received.
Construction
Changing
complete.
position.
New construction options. Building. Training. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Very unusual to see these kind of assets coming together, like the Tib regrow
Construction.
trees and stuff like that, like all the mutant vegetation. It's
Building.
cool,
Unit.
just very unusual.
New construction.
Takes some getting used to.
Construction complete.
And I'm curious, if I build an engineer, can I repair the hut? I'm guessing this is functional.
Building.
I won't repair it straight away because it wouldn't be the best tactical decision, but very cool.
Conscript reporting. Moving out. Conscript reporting. Moving out. Conscript reporting.
Curious if the AI actually attempts to repair it or not. Also nice to see the alpha light posts from Tib's very, very weird, but still very cool.
Building.
So we can build Rhino tanks, flak tracks, we build Hind transports by default. That's kind of different.
Waiting order. Comrade.
Construction.
We're kind of blocking off the access to this Tib. There's a Tib thing here, a Tib thing here, and I think there's like a blue one at the back of both of our bases, if it's based on the original map, which I suspect it might be, but we'll find out.
Building.
I think there's a Tib patch here as well.
Commandant General.
So we have access to terrorists here, we got access to crazy Ivans,
Unit ready.
and here's the blue Tib.
Share for everyone.
Alright, it's kind of cool. We can build V3 rockets as standard, as well as terror drones, very nice. We get Tesla coil action, so I get Tesla coil over here.
Construction complete.
Moving.
New rally point.
Get a
established.
second refinery. Yeah, so there is Tib over here. I like the Tib effect on the actual miners as well, the actual refineries. So instead of it just glowing gold, it's glowing green. It's a nice, nice touch.
Complete.
You can see I have access here to the split tech now, Battle Lab or Tech Center. So we'll start off with the traditional Battle Lab first.
Location confirmed.
Construction.
I want to make sure I'm good for power though before I do that, so we'll get one extra power plant.
Spy plane ready. Construction.
Spy plane ready, alright.
Unit
So
ready.
again, we're getting some superpowers which we can use in the defensive section.
Building.
Battle Lab first. There's the spy plane doing its thing.
Unit ready.
Pretty cool. Get a little sentry gun down. Yeah, it's very Tib Sun.
Unit ready.
Moving.
I kind of like it. Here's the Hind transport.
Comrade. Target sighted.
Unit ready.
Moving.
As far as I know, infantry and stuff doesn't shoot out of it. It's just
Construction.
for transport purposes.
Target sighted.
Unit
But you
ready.
can, for example, you see here. I guess I can try demo it if I can like park in the back of his base.
Unit ready.
Interesting, they built a naval yard there. That's very very funny,
Position.
considering the
Unit lost.
fact that this is a Tib Sun map. That that's what the AI has chosen to do.
Unit lost.
But you can do this, for example, and then like sneak in the back like a bunch of Tesla troopers or whatever, and cut off the enemy's harv.
Construction options.
So here's the battle lab. We can now get a nuke, which we will be doing. We can get some Tesla tanks. We can get some Apocalypse tanks. We can get some Kirovs, siege choppers. We also get a radar jammer again, so that is an option.
Unit lost.
I don't have any anti-air really over here.
Point established.
Oh, get back.
Unit lost.
We do have a Tesla tank in place now, though, so there is that.
Training. Unit lost. Unit ready.
As far as I know, the terrorist unit self-destructs on usage.
Unit lost. Unit promoted. Unit lost.
I need anti-air badly,
Unit lost. On hold.
so I need to sort that out before anything else, unfortunately, which is annoying.
Construction complete. Unit lost. Low power. Building.
Test the reactor.
Unit promoted.
Okay, flak track's doing its job. They've built a destroyer and a little bit of water here. It's pretty funny.
Construction complete. Unit
Industrial plant. Okay, so we're getting the flak tracks. As far as I remember, Apocalypse tanks do have anti-air on them, so we should be good with that. And a couple of cure-offs. We will build a couple of flak troopers as well, just in case.
unit ready. Force shield ready.
The AI has built a lot of harvesters.
Unit ready. Ore miner under attack.
Interesting that our harves are going for the topmost field instead of the bottommost one.
Unit
It's like a divergence in the pathing logic.
ore miner under attack. Unit ready.
Do not attack my harvesters, please. Thanks. The problem is my harvesters have like the guns on it, so it's going to hit the enemy's harves whenever they come near it. So it's something I got to be careful of. We're low power again.
Unit lost. Low power. Unit lost. Construction complete.
AI is freaking out, man.
Unit
So we built Tesla tanks. We built a couple of Apocalypse tanks.
construction complete.
I think we're going to want to build a couple more before we go about switching tech, just to make sure we've got a proper footing here, because this is looking a little dicey.
Unit promoted.
Nice.
Unit promoted. Ore miner under attack.
One miner should be going down here and not up towards the enemy.
Unit promoted.
Nice.
Training.
We can also build Chitskoy. Chitskoy and Boris.
New rally point.
All reliables.
Unit ready.
We built our nuke silo.
Unit
So
ready.
we built all of the vehicles. I think we built all of the infantry once we get Boris out.
Ready for launch. Repositioning.
Unit ready.
And now we have the siege chopper.
Hold.
The only thing I want to make sure is that we get at least one cure-off before we attempt a tech switch, just in case it's a prerequisite of this battle. What's called the battle lab. But we have the siege chopper here now, and again we could put those down here and like fire on. We could try that actually. That might be a fun experiment. If we try put the siege chopper down here and force fire it onto the blue tip, can we detonate their blue tip?
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Nuclear
Our
missile
battle
ready.
fortress there doing sick damage. Wow.
Select
Nuclear missile, we'll use it on here just to test it. They're of course going to defend it. God damn it.
unit ready.
So the AI is pretty smart with its tech, as you can see.
Lost.
That seems to be the right decision to make when you're dealing with a nuke.
Give 'em some pepper. Time for a hailstorm.
So yeah, you can come in here and do this and just totally destroy all of their eco. So now let's sell our battle lab.
Structure sold.
So sometimes there's a prerequisite here that if you build additional structures from your battle lab, you need to remove all of the corresponding structures to be able to revert. So I think if I'd sell this,
Structure
I can
sold.
now build a tech center. So it's something to keep in mind, that it's not just as straightforward as selling the lab. If you've got extra structures from it, you also need to sell those. So let's get the tech center down and see what the tech available from that is.
Moving out.
I do like the ability to do this though. This is pretty cheeky. Then of course you can like send in an IFV of engineers or something in the back of the base too. Get engineers up this way if you wanted to.
Checking in. Time for a hailstorm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we've knocked out all their eco, so they're pretty much
Construction option.
contained here. But with the tech center, we seem to also have unlocked access to airpad. In terms of structures and models here, we now have Apocalypse tanks. We have an alternate Tesla tank. We've got a demo truck, and we have an Iron Fist. So we'll get each one of these. And we also have these heavy Tesla troopers, desolators, and flamethrower troops. So you can kind of see how the branching paths are working here.
Ready.
We have Tesla coil. Looks like an alternate cameo for it though. Get the air pad down here. This seems to give us access to MiGs, so we can actually get 4 little MiGs. So it's kind of like a Soviet version of the aircraft carrier. Do they have one? Yeah, it's like a Soviet version of this. Air Force Command HQ.
Construction complete.
So it's an interesting idea.
Unit ready.
Again, you're going to be wanting to choose your tech according to, you know, your play style, how you want to take on the opponent. And you can see the Tesla coil differences here. There's like this is the more traditional one, and then this is like the smaller one. It's pretty cool.
Unit ready.
It's like Mama and Papa Teslas there. Very nice.
Unit lost.
So here we have the Apocalypse tanks.
Unit lost.
They're sort of the alternate cameo Apocalypse tanks. They seem to be behaving in the same manner, like their fire rate seems about the same. Just the cameo model's different, which is nice. I'm sure there are probably some stat differences. These can deploy as well, it looks like. To have an alternate fire, I guess.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
So it seems like their alt fire will send them in
Ready.
and do like grinding damage up front.
Unit lost.
Guys, attack their units. So it does seem that they have some form of alternate fire, so you can deploy it, it gets its turrets up, you deploy it again, and it does this kind of grind attack. So extra useful against infantry. We see the alternate Tesla unit here as well for the Tesla tank.
Building.
We also have the demo trucks here.
Unit lost.
So we'll send the demos truck straight in, see if we can get their lab. Here we have, what is this? There's the truck blowing up.
Ready.
Here we have the Iron Fist. I think it's a mobile war factory.
Unit lost.
Doesn't seem to be able to deal well with the pavement that's pre-deployed in this map, but I think here, yeah, you can put it down and then absolutely spam stuff. Don't think you can build off this. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. But it would be kind of weird if you could, right?
Lost. Unit lost.
But I like the model for this. It's very cool. I can repair it as well manually. It seems a little bit on the broken side. Doesn't feel quite right. That's, you know, that's how it is sometimes.
Unit lost.
Sending the MiGs in to try deal with the fortress. They take it out. Very cool. Although they did manage to take all that out.
Warning. Nuclear missile launched. Unit lost.
So yeah.
Unit lost.
I think that's a good look in terms of like all the varying units that they have access to. They have cloning vats here, so I guess I'll get one of these.
New rally point established.
Confirmed.
Unit ready. Warning. Chronosphere detected.
Desolator doing solid work.
Unit
My
ready.
truck is loaded. Watch out for the bumps. Watch out for the bumps. For my people. As you wish.
Unit ready.
Don't wait up for me.
Unit
As
ready.
you wish.
Construction complete.
Nice.
Unit lost.
Yeah, get some cloning vats set up
New rally point established.
so that all of these are duplicated.
There goes the neighborhood.
Unit ready.
Flamethrower troops.
Desolate.
Unit ready.
Melt down.
I guess maybe this will. I'm not actually sure if this will let me duplicate hero units. We'll find out here now in a sec.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Building. New rally point established. Unit ready. On hold. Cancel. Unit ready.
Yeah, so you get 2 Chitskois. That's kind of a nice little hack. And then I get 2 Boruses.
Construction complete.
I have the information.
Bridge repaired.
Nice.
Unit
And then
ready.
there's the 2 Boruses. Nice.
Unit ready.
I'll point out the guard.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit promoted. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Nice. So we have this on its alt fire now.
Ready. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Positive.
So these Apocalypse don't seem to be able to shoot up.
On hold. Cancelled.
You should see the Tesla coils take care of whatever comes out there.
New rally point established. Training. On hold. Training.
Do you have a plan?
Unit ready.
Cutting fast. Gun, do you have a plan?
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Damn.
Unit ready. Unit
So because you have access to the MiGs on this tech tree, you don't get access to the Kirovs.
Do you have a plan?
building.
So it is something to be mindful of if you are usually teching in one of those directions.
Unit lost. Select target.
If I can get as much of his power as possible, it'd be kind of cool. So like here.
Warning. Nuclear missile launched. Unit lost.
Nice. Their power is now off.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
There goes the scar.
New rally point established. Primary building selected. Unit lost.
Let's light them up. Bring on the MiGs on the way.
Unit ready.
Speed up production with extra war factories.
Building. Unit promoted. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. New rally point
And then it's just a
established.
slow grind to make sure you've got enough units up to actually deal with the enemy. The only problem with these apocalypse tanks is they cost a lot and they take forever to build.
On hold. Building.
So I think we'll probably just switch to the rhinos for now. Should be a little bit quicker to get them up.
Unit ready. Our base is under attack. Unit ready.
Not sure where the AI got. Oh, the AI is getting cash back here. See.
Unit ready.
Spread the
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Not gonna be able to get it.
Unit lost.
The dumb waste of units.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
airstrike confirmed.
Unit lost.
Target acquired.
Unit ready.
So we'll send the MiGs in, see what damage they do here.
Lost.
They deal with the Aegis cruisers here in the water as well.
Construction complete.
What I might do is get a few of these air pads and stock up on MiGs and then just absolutely destroy his base
Unit ready.
with the MiGs.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Nice.
Unit ready. Nuclear missile ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Select target.
Power.
Unit lost. Warning. Nuclear missile launched. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit
They somehow still have power. Okay, no they don't.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
What I need is to get this Conyard down, and then he'll have no power, and we should be in a winning position.
Unit lost.
Nice.
Unit promoted. Unit ready.
I think that should be it.
Unit ready.
Nice. So I like the custom models they have. Plays pretty fun.
Unit promoted.
Having the branching tech paths is super interesting.
Unit ready.
Definitely force you to make decisions that you might not normally have to make.
Unit ready. Unit promoted.
Advancing
New
to
rally
airstrike.
point established.
Airstrike confirmed. Missiles launched.
Unit ready. Unit promoted.
Take out all the structures here. The MiG's doing good damage.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Do wish the AI would sell out when it's lost its production buildings like I've seen in other mods, but I understand like that's just the way it's currently set up, which is fair enough.
Unit ready.
Airstrike confirmed. Let's keep our
Unit
distance.
ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit promoted. Unit ready.
We will bury
GG's!
You are victorious.
And that's a look at the Soviet faction. Cool splash screen art too. Okay, next up we're going to try out Yuri. We're going to go on this map Grinder, try out kind of a deserty based map, see how it handles, and we're going to go against this random RA2 opponent and see how this goes.
We build for Yuri. Yuri tank division.
So it should be interesting.
Turn up the speed. The hunt is on.
Starting off with bioreactor, and then you get your barracks.
Yes, Mr. Yuri.
Construction complete.
Get our slave miner down for eco. We can spam a bunch of initiates. The thing with Yuri's is it's usually worthwhile spamming early infantry, regardless of the map or what position you're in.
Yuri tank division.
You can usually pop in any unused initiates into your bioreactors if they prove ineffective too. You can garrison structures, I guess that's one thing we haven't really shown yet, but you are able to do it.
Unit ready. Structure garrison.
Eco's on this side.
New
Whoops.
construction options. Unit ready.
Cool.
Unit ready.
He has taught us well. I understand.
He has taught us well.
Unit ready. Construction.
We'll get a secondary slave miner set up.
New
In
construction.
terms of vehicles, Lasher tanks,
Building.
Gatling tanks, Chaos drones, kind of the standard for the Yuri faction. You still have Gatling
Unit
cannons, pavement, tank bunkers, walls.
ready.
I understand. There is much to learn.
Unit ready.
He has taught us well.
Construction ready.
Cool, get a slave miner on this side.
Unit ready.
We will puncture them.
Unit ready.
Get them on this side. Gatling cannon, so we'll get a few Gatling cannons down, it's usually good. Get a psychic sensor for our radar. Also shows where the enemy, usually I think it shows where the enemy's going to attack you from. Within a certain radius. We'll also see if we can get that radar down.
Unit ready. New construction.
So this should cover this section of the base. We can now build a battle lab or a tech center. We're going to go with the battle lab to start out with. Low power.
Hail to the great Yuri.
So yeah, you're still able to sacrifice your units for power, which is good.
Training.
Build some viruses, can build some Yuri clones.
Unit ready.
So they have all the classic Yuri's Revenge units. We have magnetrons now as well, that's cool.
Yuri tank division. Where is that? The hunt
So
is
we
on.
got some lashers.
Yuri is
I
understand.
want to get some better vision, so I'm going to send these to the four corners of the map, so you have a better idea what's going on. On the top right again, you can see our active harvesters. So if I was to pack with this guy, they should drop to 1 or 2. So it's a good way to keep track in case you've accidentally not positioned something,
Unit
which can happen from time to time, of course. Gonna get a psychic tower, another bioreactor I think is good. We have a psychic reveal ability, so you can see what the enemy's up to. We've got a few Teslas down. Looks like we're against the Soviets.
building.
Our power's a little bit sketchy, so
turn up the speed.
Reinforcements ready. Construction
we
complete.
can get some more power down. I want to get my power crawled over to about here and then get a secondary psychic tower set up.
Construction complete. Building. Unit lost.
Loads of power. We can now build these bio warriors with the tech lab.
Construction complete.
The magnet. We can build some masterminds. They're always useful. Chaos bomber. I think that's different. A transport disc, and then of course some floating discs. We'll get a psionic tower here. Genetic mutator, psychic dominator are special abilities.
Select target. Unit ready. Construction complete.
So they've gotten our tech lab building over here. Fortunately,
Unit promoted. Unit ready. Unit
we'll let them come towards our general direction here.
structure abandoned.
Oh, they couldn't even get past the defensive stuff. Nice.
Construction
You
complete.
can see some of our psychic Yuri clones here. Genetic mutator, get that down.
Building.
Get another slave miner. We'll also get a psychic dominator. We can now build Yuri Prime, which is cool. Here we can see some of the magnetrons. It's kind of the classic Yuri's unit,
Unit ready.
keeping the majority of our army on this side. We're getting some masterminds down. The mastermind tank is known to, trade the allegiance of your opponent's tanks towards yours, so that's kind of cool.
Unit ready.
Should get a secondary war factory so we can speed up the production.
Warning. Iron curtain detected.
Iron curtain detected. Use psychic reveal here. Nice.
Unit
Spy plane coming in. Whoa, okay. Rude. We lost the fucking battle lab before we could build everything, so I need to get that back down. That's super annoying. Wish the AI wasn't that aggressive, but okay. So fair enough.
cancel. Building.
Here comes the plague.
Training.
Epidemic on the
On
move.
hold.
So those viruses coming in handy doing the effect there.
Under attack. Repairing. Construction.
I can use mutate here. They've got a lot of infantry,
Genetic mutator.
so even if I don't even get kills, taking that infantry off them is usually pretty good. So here's the battle lab. I was building floating discs and
Unit ready. On hold.
I think one floating disc and one transport disc,
Building.
and then we can try the alternate tech line.
Training. Unit ready.
Cloning vats seem like a very good use for this faction.
Unit ready.
We have the genetic mutator. We need the psychic dominator as the other one.
Warning. Nuclear silo detected. Select target.
Hmm.
Unit ready.
Okay.
Unit ready.
So here's the transport disc, so you can actually put infantry into it and move it. Here's the more traditional attacking disc.
I am so very contagious. Which way is the wind blowing? I am so very
Unit ready.
contagious. Nasty.
Warning. Iron curtain activated.
Cloning vats,
New rally point established. Unit
pretty
ready.
nice.
New rally point established. Unit promoted. Unit ready.
Get another war factory down.
Our base is under attack. Building.
We'll probably sell our tech lab and switch to the other tech and see how that handles now in a sec.
Structure abandoned.
We don't have the psychic dominator yet, so I guess we'll get that first.
Our base is under attack. Force shield ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Warning. Genetic mutator activated.
Nice. So an alternate war factory, get that down. Because they're going to send the nuke pretty shortly, it looks like. I don't think I'm going to be able to get up here and take it out in time. I can build evolved brutes too. That's pretty nice. So let's... I'm waiting for the psychic dominator to go down.
Take me to front lines. Generator ready. Opposite attack. I am
Unit ready.
I don't need matches.
Our base is under attack.
Hmm.
Unit lost.
Has taught us well. Focusing energy.
Unit lost.
So I expect getting through here is not really going to be an option.
Unit lost. Warning. Iron curtain activated.
Psychic dominator is ready.
Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Low power. Unit lost.
Oh, go on, get it.
Unit lost.
Ooh, okay, so we're getting it.
Building. Unit lost.
It's not great, but we're getting it.
Unit lost. Structure abandoned. Unit lost. Our base is under attack.
We've lost nearly all of our units though.
Unit lost. Repairing.
These goddamn fucking V3s in the back.
Unit lost. Low power. Building.
Guys, do something about this. Don't just like sit on your asses.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Here comes the plague. I am so very
Unit lost.
contagious.
Repairing. Unit lost. Construction complete.
Okay,
Unit
what are we missing? Okay, we need to get the alternate tech lab back up. So this just goes to show that the AI,
building.
even if it's on easy, is still actually being somewhat persistent.
Nuclear silo Building. Construction complete. New rally point established.
Psychic sensor. Okay, let me get the tech center up.
Our base is under attack. Repairing. Our base is under attack. New construction options.
Turning the back.
Unit lost.
Okay.
Unit ready. Repairing. Unit lost. Warning. Iron curtain.
No, I didn't mean to move you.
New construction.
That's super annoying that that happened.
Unit lost.
It's fine.
Repairing. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Changing position. Yuri is not ready, comrade.
Here comes the plague. Epidemic on the move.
Building.
Gonna build a lot more Gatling tanks just in case they send more Kurovs. The Magnetrons are good too. I need to get this tech center down, then I need my racks back up. I guess I need power first.
Unit lost. New construction options. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Okay.
Unit ready.
Dominator's coming online.
Lost. Unit ready.
I have the tech center.
Building. Unit lost.
Super annoying.
Our base is under attack. Construction complete.
I don't have barracks. That's what I'm missing.
Unit ready. Psychic Dominator ready.
So Psychic Dominator's ready. We'll see if this actually kills this. It doesn't. It's kind of disappointing how
Ready.
long of a wind up that had and how little damage it actually did.
Unit lost.
Kind of doesn't seem worth it.
New construction options.
Here we can build some of the different tech units now. We can build an Overmind. We can build these oppressor discs or a repair disc. Then on the infantry side, it's more or less the same from the looks of things.
Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Unit
I need a lot more Gatling guns. Problem is my base is just so spread out.
under attack.
What's it gonna hit?
Unit lost.
I just got my power. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Building. Training.
I'll get a few more brutes up.
Cancel.
A few Gatling guns.
Construction complete.
You can see the Overmind here. So it's kind of like the ultimate version. You can do a little deploy.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Da-da-da.
Construction complete. Cannot deploy here.
Jeez. Get my power back online, please.
Construction complete. Unit lost. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit lost. Building. Construction complete. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Repairing. Building. Genetic mutator ready. Building. Construction complete.
Alright, so here's some of the oppressor discs.
Construction complete.
Along with some of those new tanks, the Overminds.
Unit ready.
I need a lot more war factories.
Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Unit lost. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit lost.
Gotta watch out for the use of those viruses with those brutes. It's kind of a backfiring combination, doesn't really work too well.
Under attack. Construction complete. Repairing. Building. Unit ready.
To
Select
mutate.
box. Genetic mutator activated. Warning. Nuclear missile launched. Unit ready. Unit
Oh, that was really unlucky.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
They love prioritizing taking out those structures.
Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Unit ready. Select target.
So what's the point in this dominate thing if it does such shitty damage?
Unit promoted. Low power. Unit lost.
I guess I get control of the units it targets, as well as destroying basic structures' health by a little bit.
Building. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Unit ready.
Yuri is master. I understand.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Building. Low
These
power.
bombing runs are like absolutely shredding me.
Construction complete. Our base is under attack. Cannot deploy here. Unit lost. Repair. Unit lost. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Cannot deploy here. Unit ready. Repair. Construction complete. Low power.
I guess I've lost my radar.
Unit lost. Genetic mutator ready. Warning. Iron curtain activated.
He has taught us well.
Construction complete. Our base is under attack. Unit lost.
Us well.
New construction options. Unit lost. Unit ready. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit
Okay.
ready. Unit lost. Construction complete.
It's a bit of a slog, not gonna lie. We're not really playing great here. I feel like it shouldn't prove this much of a difficulty to do these things, and yet it is. I don't know if that's down to the faction, just the way I'm playing it, or the mod itself.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
But like the superpowers of the Soviets here just seem to be like such a good matchup against the Yuri.
Building. Unit lost. Unit promoted. Unit lost. Unit promoted. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit lost. Building. Unit lost. New construction option.
We've lost pretty much everything in that fight.
Unit ready.
I think for time's sake, I'm probably going to leave this match here because I don't really have time to keep going at this. But you get a good idea here in terms of the units available to the Yuri faction, what they can do, the defensive structures, the different available tech on the branching trees. So yeah, we're going to leave it there. But GG's.
Battle control terminated.
Alright, so next up we're going to try out some GDI versus Nod. So these are going to be the really interesting factions, seeing how they handle in the RA2 engine. So we're going to try out this map in the line of fire by Aurora 196. Let's go. So already pretty cool seeing Tiberian Sun units here. Nice lighting effects on the map actually as well. They've got the voicing from Tiberian Sun on it too, the Eva, that's a very nice touch. So in terms of defensive structures here, what do we got? We got Power Turbine, SAM Turret, Vulcan Tower, and RPG Launcher, so you got a few. Actually, these structures on this map, this seems to actually just happen to be a Tiberian Sun map, so you can't garrison the structures in the middle. So it's perfect setting for trying this out.
Unit ready. Cannot deploy here. Building.
So we get our RAF, get our War Factory down. I guess we'll try out the Power Turbines.
Construction complete.
Slap these down.
Construction complete. Construction
Okay, get a War Factory. Refinery, so we can build Harvesters, we can build Titans by default, and Wolverines. Seems pretty cool. I like the cameos they have again, custom for the mod. So I guess we'll get the second ref back here.
unit ready.
Even the coloring and details on the ported structures look real nice. Let's get a radar next. Probably send us low power, so then we'll get power after it. Nice. So yeah, it feels very Tib Sun. I mean, especially with the Tiberium, obviously. So now we have helipad. We'll get that first. Should be able to build orcas, I guess. Yeah, orca fighter. You can build carryalls as well. I can build a paladin and try out that. I think this is like primarily meant for a C unit, but it's amphibious. Hover MLRS, sensor array is pretty cool. So you have a tech center or you have the battle lab. We'll go with the tech center tree first. Try that out. So you can see the cyborgs coming in here from the Nod opponent. Alright, so now we have our tech center down. So we can build disruptors, juggernauts, the Mammoth Mark II, also orca bombers by the looks of things. We can build an Umagon and a Ghost Stalker. Defensive structures, we can build an upgrade center. Seems to be how we'd get like an ion cannon uplink maybe. So let's try that out. Here you have that big ship boy, the Paladin. And here's Umagon herself. As a reminder, they have it set up so that if you turn on ore settings, so you're not using Tiberium, the auto heal will be automatic instead of being required on the actual Tib. So it's something to be very cautious of if you are playing without those settings. I'm sure it'll greatly change the balance, especially in online matchups. I guess we'll get an EMP cannon, see how that looks. Our power is still pretty shit.
New location set.
Waiting orders. Loud and clear.
Construction complete.
Okay.
Cannot deploy here.
Our
Unit
power
lost.
situation is desperate here.
Upgraded. Unit lost.
Jump jet infantry, we get some of these. I think by default they're set to always fly, so there's none of this like, does it hop, does it do like a hover kind of a thing. It's just constantly up in the air, which is cool in its own way. So power, here's the EMP cannon, so with that we get the EMP pulse ability. We're going to want to upgrade our power turbines. I guess we'll get an orca bomber. Try that out. We can also start to unlock the ion cannon uplink. Seems like something we definitely want to get. The AI just ran past us. What? Jump jet's thankfully doing a decent job, and here's the Mammoth. These are restricted to, you don't have to just build one of these, so there's no build limit on them by the looks of it. For better or worse. We're not actually going to build multiples of these. Come on, ion cannon uplink. Drop pod node as well. Seems pretty cool idea. We want to keep building, I guess, a couple more juggernauts. Drop pod node. Come on, juggernauts. I'm curious if the juggernauts need to deploy. Some of the mods they don't, some of them they do. This looks like it does need to deploy, which is cool. It's fair enough. And here's the orca bomber. Yeah, we'll just do it on this test. There seems to be some civilian structures in the middle. We'll test it on this. See how it does. It's pretty damn effective. It's cool. Yeah, these deploy just like in Tib Sun, as you'd expect. Very nice. And with that, I think we can switch to the other tech tree. So we've seen all these units. Seen all these. So let's sell our tech center and get the battle lab up instead. we'll come off through here. They built a missile silo, so they also seem to have stealth tank. Just want to be careful of that. Come up through the old base. Cool map. I like what they've done with the settings. Well, that's worrying. Okay, yeah, you all go here. So our battle lab is now down. This gives us access to Mammoth Tank, Slingshots, Shatterers. So I believe some of these are inspired by the Tib Sun, or by the Tib Wars style. So Predator tanks, Pitbull tanks. So a whole bunch of basically more tanky based units rather than Titans. Which is totally fair. We need to come in here, see if we can get some damage done on the AI. Iron cannon ready, hell yeah. We'll do it here on the War Factory. Seems super effective, we'll take it. They've applied their force shield ability here, so it's fair enough. The EMP pulse, it can't quite reach this far. There is a limit on it. So it can reach up to about here from the base, so it's pretty far. Let's take out their con yards so they don't rebuild stuff. And then try take out their... They've launched a cluster missile, damn it. Doesn't seem like it was too effective though, so that's good. Here are the mammoth tanks that they let you build. So they kind of seem reminiscent of Apocalypse tanks. You got this slingshot here, which I think is anti-air only. And then of course you have the Shatterer, which we've just built one of, which is here. Where's the Shatterer? So it does that kind of effect. Anything else? You can still build Umagon, Ghost Stalkers with this tech version. Drop pods we haven't really seen yet, so I'll pop these here. So pretty cool, you got a bunch of veteran C units. As you can see, they're racking stuff up here now, so I don't think the AI will be able to actually build any tanks. It's pretty good. They do have power now though, which is unfortunate. That's fine. So we'll stand in the wave of tank and infantry units next. See how they do in battle. But yeah, it's pretty fun, pretty satisfying. Interesting having the alternate tech trees, so being able to build stuff like pit bulls and mammoth tanks and like all those kind of more C&C3 orientated units, alongside the more kind of classic Tib Sun Titans is a nice ability to switch between the two techs. And again, depending on your opponent and what way you want to play, you can obviously specialize towards one of the sub factions and primarily go that route with it. If I do it here, I'm curious what the splash damage is like. Wow, it's effective. Okay. That seems painfully effective. But yeah, that's I think that's a good look in terms of the GDI. The GDI faction. You got to see all of their units and their alternating tech trees. It's pretty good. Alright, next up we're going to play as Nod. I've chosen to go up against the allies this time so you can see kind of the variation between the TS versus the Red Alert side. This is kind of, you know, the big benefit of the mod. We're going to try it on this classic RE2 map, El Dorado, see how it goes. So let's kick into it. Really like some of the options that they've made for the Nod faction in terms of texture palettes and stuff. Get ourselves a power plant, and we're finding like the cameos look really nice. It'll be interesting seeing it like against the allies, how that kind of holds up. But let's go.
Construction complete.
Refinery. Gotta hand a nod down.
Building. Construction complete.
So yeah, it's kind of a, it's a bit of a weird clash, right?
Training.
When you can see the tips on units, and then you see like an airfield you can capture. It's an interesting blending of the two worlds together. You gotta watch out for the Tiberium as well. It changes the map up a little bit, because you gotta be a bit more careful with your infantry. You can't just walk across the ore unharmed. Oops. Of course, we can build off these neutral structures too, which means we can actually get nice reps placed throughout the map. It would be real nice if I can get an engineer all the way up to here. Capture this tech repair shop too. Get a SAM site. Huge amount of power from that. Wow. They have, of course, as you can hear, they got Cabal's voice acting going on it. It's pretty nice. I want to get this here, right?
Building.
Yes, sir. No problem. Unit reporting. Yes, sir.
It's like a spy unit.
Construction complete.
Okay, war factory. You want to put the war factory like up here.
Waiting orders. Yes, sir.
We do also probably want to keep some of this backed up. Reinforcements ready. Since I can't see the enemy, I'll drop them off here.
Facility to capture. Unit lost.
So you've actually captured this, which is cool.
Construction complete.
So you can get some vision into the opponent's base there. Also very nice.
New construction options. New
Uh,
location set.
Build an obelisk of light. You can build a, yeah, let's get an obelisk of light. When we're playing as Nod, that's kind of how the Noddies do it.
Unit
Infantry
ready.
reporting.
Rail
On it.
attack. Ready.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Construction
Napalm airstrike ready.
select target. Unit upgraded.
Nice. So we have the obelisk of light. We'll get one of these down here. Again, I'm kind of spreading out my base a bit, so when they get super weapons, we're not absolutely destroyed.
Construction complete.
So what next? Tech center. We get the helipad first. So we can choose between the battle lab and the tech center for our branching tech choices.
Reinforcements ready.
We're going to get the tech center first. In terms of our current vehicles, we can build tick tanks, recon bikes, buggies. Haven't really built extra harvesters. I need to get a third ref.
Ready.
Repair vehicle. We can build advanced artillery, so we can also get harpies. I didn't get a harpy by default with the helipad, so that's worth noting.
Unit ready.
Not necessarily saying that you should, just worth noting.
Unit
Waiting
ready.
orders. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Uh,
Unit ready. Unit lost.
okay, we got our tech center down.
Lost.
Now build a temple of Nod.
Unit
We can build Devil's Tongue, kind of this traditional unit. Stealth tanks, also get Banshee.
Unit ready.
I can build a comedian spy, cyborg, get some more cyborgs down, I think it's a good idea. Sound turret here would be good.
Air attack ready. Unit ready.
It's too good not to do that. It's too satisfying. Here's a temple of Nod. Of course, we're low power now.
Building. Cannot deploy here.
So we can build Cyborg Commando. Hell yeah.
On hold. Cancel. Reinforcements ready. Construction complete. New
So we want to put these here. The advanced artillery are these deployable ones that you may be familiar with from Tiberian Sun. Go figure.
construction complete.
What else we got? Mutant hijacker, so you can hijack enemy vehicles. You could hear there one of the subterranean units, so the Devil's Tongue.
Unit ready.
So you can get a few of those in and attack the opponent with it. You can build some Reapers.
Unit ready.
There's a Cyborg Commando in all its glory. Still as cool as all. Instead of firing a ball, looks like he's got like a prism type attack, which is cool.
Unit ready.
I can build laser fence posts. So just to show that these actually work. I can build an Obelisk of Darkness. For those not familiar, I believe this is primarily anti-air ability. It also helps if you line up your fence posts to actually work. So we can build an Obelisk of Darkness. See the SAM site here doing some damage.
Select target. Construction complete. Select target. Training. Unit lost.
I can also build laser turrets.
Unit lost.
See the Reapers coming into play here.
Unit lost.
That's pretty cool. Do I have? I didn't get the missile turret.
Build.
I don't think. Don't the missile silo yet. Here we can see the Apache and Banshees coming in. So they do their standard damage. Harpy again, usually more effective against the infantry than it is against vehicles.
Construction complete.
Sir, on my way.
Missile silo.
New construction options.
Very nice. So we can now build mobile stealth generator, which is kind of cool.
Construction.
The waste facility here. We get power plant.
Build.
And then we're going to switch tech up, so we're going to have to backtrack a little bit.
Construction complete.
We're going to want to backtrack and sell this.
Unit lost.
We're also going to need to sell this.
Structure sold.
What else do we need to sell? Do we need to sell the missile? Nah, I think we're going to have to sell the missile silo in order to be able to get the branching tech option here. Or it could possibly be the Obelisk of Darkness. It's the Obelisk of Darkness at the cell. Okay, and then we need to get the battle lab up and running. Meanwhile, I've kind of stopped building tanks, which is really bad. So Tic Tanks versus IFVs, very, very weird clashing of worlds here. But I mean, it works. It plays pretty nicely. I mean, the balance is kind of up in the air in terms of like how nicely this plays, but I think it's not totally imbalanced by any means. Here's the battle lab. So I think the battle lab lets me build an extra structure here, the mech factory, which is kind of one of the most recent changes that they've made with the mod in one of the more recent patches. Let's get all these up here, and the repair guy. So this mech factory lets you build pretty crazy stuff. We build a Reckoner here, beam cannon. So these are the additional units that you can build on this tech choice anyway. Flame tank 2, just for good measure. But the mech factory, which I'll put here, lets us build Redeemers and Centurions, which are kind of badass. The Centurions you can build multiple of. The Redeemer you can only have one of. I can also build a Venom instead of a Banshee, it looks like. But they're so cool. As you also have the beam unit here. You have the Reclaimer, or the Reckoner. So these are all kind of nice, unique units anyway. But the stuff you get with this thing is like, my god, man. My god. Multi-missile ready. Nice. We'll try it on the Conyard, see how damaging it is. It's okay, it's not amazing. Whoops. Want to get these deployed. Napalm missile. So put it here. So here's the Redeemer. Which it stands out a little bit compared to the usual Tiberian Sun arsenal, right? It's pretty cool from what I'm aware of. It's kind of inspired from like the C&C 3 side of things, but yeah. So now we just have like these giant ass Nod mechs, which is you know, it's cool, I guess. I healed a commando here too. May as well get one. But yeah, like. It's kind of really cool. Like the animations on them are nice.
Sir.
Unit ready. Cannot deploy here. Unit lost.
Waiting.
Neutral. Unit lost.
But I think currently, like, why would you not just spam these giant mechs, right?
Unit lost.
I guess anti-air is one concern. I guess recon bikes can deal with it, but I'm not sure. It does use the same build queue as this, uses the same build queue as your standard War Factory stuff. So do keep that in mind. Yeah, you just do this, and then like, why wouldn't you just charge in? They chrono shifted their units backwards. That was kind of weird. Artillery shooting across the water. You send in your heavy centurions to do the heavy lifting. I guess these guys could be focusing on crossing the water a bit better. Like, look at the level of damage these things do. Pretty badass, I have to say. The first time I saw these units, I was like, wait, what? But then once I played it, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the faction that I would want to be trying out on multiplayer and stuff, and like trying to tech up to this. The downside is like you do have to get the advanced tech and then build the mech factory on top of things, which is an extra 2k, so it's definitely not cheap. But you do get these Venom units too, which I guess we should bring over and try out a little bit. So they do some damage. They're not super strong, but it's really interesting to see, you know, trying something different. Like I think they've done a real good job overall in terms of capturing the original GDI and Nod factions from Tiberian Sun. They've ported across the models and done a couple of new additions and models to complement it as well. I really like the idea of the alternating tech between all the factions, both Allies, Soviets, Yuri, and the GDI and Nod. I think currently I would say my favorite is the Nod faction, just because you can choose to go with these like gigantic ass mechs as one of the tech options, or you can choose to play it in the more regular route where you just use the kind of more standard default tech center upgrade route, where you can just build a lot of fast, quick, small units, which is also totally valid. I think they've just done a really cool job with this. Like, look at this, the animation's so sick. But yeah, GG's.
You are victorious.
So we checked out each of the individual factions in a skirmish, so the Allies, Soviets, Yuri, Nod, and GDI. I think it's worthwhile just having a brief pop in on the campaign here and there. Probably won't do full missions, but just to have a glance at what's actually included with some of these. I think the default Red Alert 2 missions, you're going to know what you're getting for. I don't think there's been huge amounts in terms of rebalances or changes to the base campaigns. However, what I do think is worth having a quick look at here is how they've handled the beta Tiberian Sun campaigns. I'm really interested to see what they've done here. So I'm just going to pick a random mission, GDI 4 Defend Crash Site. I believe this should be an interesting indicator of what the campaigns are currently looking like. It's a classic mission for those familiar with Tib Sun. Game speed seems to be a little bit slow by default, that's fine. So it's pretty cool. So they got nice lighting effects, they got the ion storms in place by the looks of it. You got the lightning effects going on, you've got your Wolverine units, you've got your GDI units. Like, we've seen the full roster of GDI stuff in the base campaign, but it's just really interesting to see how they've gone about scripting these missions, and like, you know, they've added the in-game game prompts, they've got some audio overlay stuff, which is pretty cool. And again, this isn't beta, so they are still actively working in terms of trying to improve the campaign and stuff they have so far. And they don't have all of the Tib Sun missions yet, but they seem to have, I'd say, about half of the missions for each side so far, which is kind of cool. It seems I'm actually low power. My turrets have stopped firing as a result of that, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we can try stay alive for a little bit. On the bottom right you can see the timer. It's like 6 minutes or something. We want to be careful that we try keep the ship alive. But again, this is just to have a little glimpse at what they've done so far in terms of the campaign. So it's pretty cool. I'm very impressed with the mod to date. I am looking forward to seeing what changes they make in the future. Because so far it is pretty badass. But I am a little bit biased. Like, personally speaking, I tend to prefer the Tib Sun missions and campaign over the base Ora 2. Don't shoot me. But having the ability to play both of them within a mod is a very neat idea. As I say, Iron Shock was another recent mod that's trying to bring Tib Sun into the Ora 2 engine. It is a little bit behind in terms of its development cycle, I would say, compared to like this game. It's still heavily in beta, more so than this. But it is cool to see the devs approach it from different ways. And how effective it is. And it looks like we're probably going to lose out here. Unless we can do some miraculous micro to save our asses. Got 1 minute 20 on the clock. Can we do it, folks? Can we do it? You can take this out, that's fine. 5, 4. Hey! GDI transport en route. Oh man! It's pretty cool. So they actually have like timed the reinforcement drop and stuff here, and if you actually kept your units alive, you should be able to complete the mission. But yeah, that's a fun quick look at the GDI side of things. Mission failed? Totally fair. So that's an idea of what the GDI side looks like. I guess we can pop into one of the Nod missions too. Messiah returns. We'll go with the first Nod mission. It should be fairly straightforward. Just to show this one off a bit as well.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by.
So you have the camera pan tilts. Very cool. Run, guys, run!
Unit lost.
Okay, come on.
Controls established.
Very cool. Let's speed up the game speed again. Put it on faster.
Training.
Nice.
Unit ready. Building. Build a high base perimeter has been reached. Unit lost. Power levels.
From what I remember, there's Tib up to the top left. It's been a while since I played the campaign. Yep, there it is. Sweet.
Construction complete. Harness the Tiberian to the north.
Yeah.
Building.
Then get an extra power plant, sell the conyard, and then just spam it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's very faithful to the original Tib Sun. The buildings and stuff look the part. It all seems to function more or less the same. You do obviously have the Ora 2 improvements. You can like flip between attacking, defensive structures, infantry, which is a real nice improvement over the base Tib Sun. And it's the only kind of feature that a remaster would really benefit Tib Sun with, I think. Is primarily that, being able to filter through your structure types. I thought I blocked my ref there by accident, but I seem to be good. And then you just send your units out and you kick some ass. So pretty cool. As I say, early missions, there doesn't tend to be a huge amount in them in terms of objectives and stuff, but it is nice to see that they have put in the effort to add these missions to the current version of the client. Oh shit. Yeah, it's very cool to see that they've put in the effort to include these missions. I think the multiplayer is obviously where the mod is currently going to be shining. And all of the functionality of the mods, like being able to have the Allies and Soviets play up against like the GDI and Nod factions, it's very cool. They even have custom splash screens, very nice. But with all that, I think we've come to the end of this mod overview. So just as a recap, we had a quick look through the skirmishes. We had a look at all 5 of the factions. We played a few of them against each other, including some cross-faction play with Nod and the allies there towards the end. We also popped into the campaign mode. We checked out some of the new beta missions on the Tiberian Sun side, so we tried out the Messiah Returns and Defend the Crash site, so it's pretty cool. I definitely recommend checking out this mod. I'll be including a link to the ModDB page where you can go download it and all that good stuff in the video description, as well as a link to the Reloaded Discord channel, as well as the C&C Anniversary Event Discord channel too. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. It helps support me in the channel, and it helps me to enable doing more of this kind of content for the community. But aside from that, I hope you all are having a good time with the Ori Anniversary event and that you continue to do so. And I'll see you all next time. Take it easy, folks.